Okay, so this one I'm going to do a little bit differently. Some people had questions about this one, example 1214, and the reason I'm not going to do it on the board is because I want to be able to use this chart here. So it says, how long would it take the initially uncharged capacitor in this picture to charge to 75 volts? Now note that 75 volts is 75% of the 100 volts. It's a 100-volt battery, so you're talking about charging the capacitor up to 75 volts. Well, the time constant on this you take is R times C. So your time constant tau is RC. So that's 100 times 10 to the third ohms times 0.01 times 10 to the negative sixth farads, because it's 0.01 microfarads. So 100 times 10 to the third times 0.01 times 10 to the negative sixth. Well, so I got 100 times 0.01 times 10 to the negative third times, 10 to the third times 10 to the negative 6. So 10 to the third and 10 to the negative 6, that's going to be 10 to the negative third, because the 3 and the 6 cancel to get negative 3. Then I got 100 times 0.01, that's 1. So now I got 1, that's 1 times 10 to the negative 3, and the answer is seconds. So my time constant is 1 millisecond. Now, I come over here and I say, okay, so that means in one time constant, all right, I get I'm just drawing a blank about, read up through here, just a little over 60%. I want to go to 75%, so that's here, there's 75%. So 75% onto that curve to charge to 75%, come back down, boom. So that right there, that is, okay, that's 0.2, 0.4, 0.6, 0.8, one time constants, 1.2, 1.4 time constants. So I'm looking at 1.4 times 1 millisecond will of course be 1.4 milliseconds. So is that what the book says over here? Milliseconds is in fact the answer. Okay? And of course I've just walked it out the way that the book says. Okay? So related problem says, how long would it take the capacitor to charge to 50 volts? Okay, and that's same figure 1236. How long to charge to 50 volts? Well, 50 volts is half. Okay, so that would be to here. So that's one time constant. 50 volts is 50%. You're looking at about 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, 0.5 milliseconds. Okay. And then what is it, 3 milliseconds? Well, that would be 1 time constant, 2 time constant, 3 time constants. 3 milliseconds, it would be up here at about 95% charged. Okay, so I would say that to charge to 50 volts is about 0.55 milliseconds. 3 milliseconds, it's going to be about 95% charged. Let's go look at the back of the book. Or back of the chapter, I'm sorry. 1214. The 95 volts, the second answer I have is right, 0.74 milliseconds. Maybe I'm going to go back and look at the curve and see if I read that wrong. So 50%, that's 0.2, 0.4. Oh, I did read it wrong. 0.2, 0.4, 0.6, that's 0.8. So yeah, that makes about sense. That's about 0.75 time constant, so it'll be about 0.75 milliseconds. So I hope that is of some help.